Pingu and the paper plane. Pingu and the paper plane. Pingu was giving his girlfriend, Pingy, a lift to school on a sledge. It was very exciting speeding down the slippery slope. But then, whack whack, crash! The front of the sledge crunched into a pile of freshly fallen snow. Eek! Called Pingu as he span across the ice on his tummy. Ouch! Called Pingy, who did an amazing somersault and landed on her beak. Then, toot toot, it was Pingy, riding a super duper ice scooter. He giggled when he saw what had happened. Pingu and Pingy thought that their friend might stop to help them, but he didn't. Toot toot went his scooter again, and he was gone. Nyak, nyak. Pingu felt very angry. You go on to school, and I'll come when I've pulled my sledge out of the snow, he said to Pingy. Pingu freed his sledge and raced to school so he wouldn't be late. He was sitting in his desk quietly when, bonk! Something hit him on the head. It was a ball of scrambled paper. Pingu looked up to see who had thrown it, and he saw Pingy giggling. Pingu tore out a piece of paper from his workbook and speedily folded it into a plane and threw it at Pingy. It was bad luck that at that moment a big gust of wind blew. The wind carried the plane high into the sky and down into a helter-skelter swirl. It landed at the feet of Professor Pingaloo. Who threw this? Growled Professor Pingaloo. Professor Pingaloo held up the plane so everyone could see it. Not me, said Pingy. So who did? Asked the professor. Everyone was silent. Then Pingy pointed at Pingu. Pingu threw it. I saw him, he said. Is that true? Did you throw the paper plane, Pingu? Professor Pingaloo asked. No, said Pingu. Professor Pingaloo looked closely at Pingu's workbook. It had a page torn out of it. Said Professor Pingaloo. Professor Pingaloo told Pingu to stand in the corner for the rest of the day. Meanwhile, Pingy sat at his desk and pretended he was a very well-behaved penguin. It was boring standing in the corner. Pingu looked around. He saw Pingy's super-duper ice scooter, and he had an idea. While no one was looking, Pingu raced over to the scooter and undid one of the bolts on the front wheel. He threw the bolt as far as he could, and it landed in the snow, never to be found again. Then he went back to the corner and smiled until Professor Pingaloo rang the bell for the end of school. Ding, ding, ding. As Pingu was heading off for home, he heard Pingy offering Pingy a ride on a scooter. Huh? Thought Pingu. Then, oh no! He remembered that the front wheel was loose and he almost called out for Pingy to stop. Crash! But it was too late. Pingy fell off the scooter and landed on her beak for the second time that day. Ouch! She said. Pingu laughed when he saw that Pingy was hurt, and he laughed again when he saw how upset Pingy was about a scooter. It didn't look very super duper anymore. Fancy a lift home? Pingu asked Pingy cheerily. Yes, please. I'm not going on that scooter again, she replied. Bye, they called to Pingy, and they were gone. But they hadn't gone very far when Pingu stopped the sledge. Do you think we should help Pingy? He asked. He was a bit naughty, but I do feel sorry for him, replied Pingy. So they went back and together worked out a plan for travelling home. And the plan worked very well indeed. Toot toot! The end.